Hey everyone, hello, Cash-Based Physical Therapy 101 Forum. My name is Dave Kittle. I am one of the two admins here in the group along with Ron Miller. And just wanted to jump on here really quick because, for a couple reasons. But one is I wanted to catch up with one of our colleagues, one of our physical therapy colleagues, really interesting clinician, practice owner, businessman, technologist. Long story short is it's 2:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, and we're gonna go into and describe as to why the gentleman Tom DeLonzo Baker, who is joining me here on this call, on this video here, why he's able to evaluate and treat 100% of his his patients in general. He can evaluate and treat patients from home, from a computer, and now his transition in his career to using what he learned and doing all the evaluations and treatments. And now he's teaching other practice owners like Dean Volk and other practice owners from across the country, that methodology, that skill set. Man, I could go on and on. Tom DeLonzo Baker is here. He is the founder of Total Motion Release, and he is in North Carolina. And I just really wanted to get across, there's this other opportunity. Instead of trading time for dollars and going to a brick and mortar clinic and doing what's just normal, what you're kind of told to do or what you're expected to do, there's just other stuff out there. And that is why I wanted to make this video. We did try the Facebook Live. We had some issues there. So this is going to be recorded. We're going to share this for you now in the group. And Tom DeLonzo Baker, welcome. What's up? How are you?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it because, what you and Dean did a couple weeks ago was amazing. But when we did get on the Facebook Live, you started to say that Dean sent you things and you tried them on somebody, sent you videos of basic CMR. Just try this really quickly. And what happened?
I had, and I still do today, including I used it today. I have a patient that is now about 3 weeks post-op, left total knee replacement. He's never had a knee replacement before. He's had other knee scopes. He's had a history of some sciatica, some radiculopathy on the left side as well. So this patient I just saw this morning, but rewind previously, which was a day when I did a video like this with Dean. Mm-hmm. And literally it was about how Dean charges $200 per visit at his cash practice. We didn't even expect I didn't even think we were going to talk about how Dean leverages what you do, which is total motion release. And the patient that I use now, I was sending questions to Dean, and he was just sending me videos, and I was watching these videos on my way to go see this patient. And Dean said a couple things don't drive pain, don't try not to drive pain because then that might drive compensation, and just basically these movements that you're going to go through and this idea of what we're going to go through. It was kind of crazy because I've seen your videos for years and it just never really clicked. It didn't really click. But then I started to just find a way to kind of describe this methodology. Up until last week, the patient started to have some sciatica symptoms on his left side come back. So left total knee replacement, normal stuff, right? Swelling, pain, bruising, all that type of stuff. But then he was describing left hip and left, posterolateral hamstring and thigh pain. And then below the knee, so I'm thinking whoa, this is more than just his swelling in the lower leg or something, or if it's a knee, it's less likely, it's possible, but it's less likely to be kind of traveling in that pattern. So I knew I had already talked to Dean and he sent me these videos, and I said, okay, there is nothing to lose here. I'm going to just do the things that Dean sent me and the movements that Tom DeLonzo Baker basically.
What did he send you? The twist, the leg raise? What did he send you?
He sent me, he sent me the twist and the leg raise seated.
Yep.
And then I kept watching Dean's videos, because then on YouTube it says you can they'll keep serving up videos from the similar host. So then I was watching other ones, and I basically did for this patient on his good side, on his uninvolved side. I had tried the leg raises lying down. And I said, first of all, let's walk, and how do you feel? That's the pretest. Walk, how do you feel? And he would describe pain or stiffness or whatever. And I said, all right, lie down, do these leg raises on the good side. And then we're going to literally walk again, a minute later or 2 minutes later, whatever. And I said, do you feel better, worse, or the same? You know, it's got to be one of those three, right? If you're a physical therapist, you're watching this, I always do a pre and post test because patients pay me cash out of pocket. They pay me hundreds of dollars per visit. And I have to prove my worth every single visit and prove myself to have them allow me to come back into their home or their workplace the next visit to then pay me more hundreds of dollars out of pocket. So I said,
so you need to have success right then and there. That's basically what you're saying. You need to show it, buy in, get them going, and you better have it, or else they're just going to look at you funny, and you're just going to run away from it.
Right. And now I'm thinking, oh my God, for how many years I worked in an outpatient ortho office where it was like, I wonder why this patient or that patient canceled or fell off, or they kind of drifted away. And it was like, oh, well, because I wasn't really selling them. I wasn't really ethically selling them and getting their buy-in. And then up until the past couple of visits with this patient, he was feeling the sciatica pains worse on Saturday. So today's Monday. I saw him on a Saturday because if they're paying this amount of money, I can do weekends sometimes a little bit here and there. So I went and saw him on Saturday. The patient told me, Tom, that for this upcoming week, he scheduled 2 chiropractic visits. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like we were doing prone press-ups. You were feeling better. I was really surprised. He didn't even say like, oh, should I do chiropractic or why would I do whatever? And I was like, all right, I am going to pursue the hell out of his uninvolved side, his good side today. And I had him go, okay, pre and post test. So, okay, let's go up, let's stand up, walk around a little bit. He's got a large apartment here in New York City. We walked a little bit, saw his gait, but it was more about how he feels. And, what is your pain, or, 5 out of 10 and stiffness and whatever. And then I said, okay, let's do some of these movements that maybe you'll show us today, which we can go into the seated, assisted leg raise, kind of in a seated position. And I had him do 2 sets of 25, but I did 25, then we walked. And I said, do you feel better, worse, or the same? Because I'm not going to guide him. I'm not going to guide him and kind of try to change his thinking.
You want to be neutral. You're a scientist, man. Exactly. Is what it is. You don't really care what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So the first set of 25, I said, do you feel better, worse, or same? He said, I feel better. I go, great. Knowing what I know about Dean's videos and Tom's videos, 25 more, please. So I had him do another set of 25. We walked again. Do you feel better, worse, or the same compared to the first 25? I feel a little bit better, even better than the first. I was like, holy moly. And then I'm like, okay, let's lie down. He's got a treatment table because some people can afford to buy a treatment table for a therapist to come visit them. So I said, let's lie down. And I had him do the kind of like the figure 4, piriformis, whatever you want to call it, opposite knee.
Oh, you saw that. You saw that on Dean's video, right?
Yes, on Dean's. And it's literally, Tom, I did it for the first time. And he's not he doesn't exercise like I do, and he's not mobile like I am. So on his good side, he kind of hugged his knee up and over, and he let out like this, oh my gosh, like it felt so good, right? So I wasn't exactly sure. I kind of did a hybrid. I kind of oscillated. I bounced on his end range like 25 times, then I relaxed it. Then I had him do like 3 holds.
All on the good side, right?
Yeah, all on the good side. This is all on the good side. His left knee replacement leg was just flat, neutral, like just relaxing. I had him do 3 stretches of like 30 seconds each. Then I had him lay down, relax his leg down. I still, again, one more time on his good side, his uninvolved side. I oscillated another 25 times with him, kind of showed him he was doing it, and I was giving him some overpressure. I said, okay, let's go ahead and stand up and walk. Do you feel better, worse, or the same from when you were already feeling better? And Tom, this guy's a painter, an artist. I can't mention his name because of confidentiality, but he's very kind of stoic. He's very kind of stern, and his mood changed. His eyes got bigger. His demeanor was different. This was Saturday, and I rocked his world. He goes, this is great. This is a little bit early, but I'm good with ending right now because I feel amazing. I can't believe it, he said. And then today is Monday. I didn't see him on Sunday. Today is Monday. And then he told me he was feeling so much better. We did more of what we did to reinforce. And he told me he canceled his chiropractic visits without me bad-mouthing the chiropractor and saying, too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe you shouldn't see chiropractor. I didn't even say it. The results resulted in him canceling. So I have to say thank you to Dean Volk and thank you to you. And now that's my long-winded thing of what I went through recently. I can't even believe it. My wife's a physical therapist. I told her about it. She's doing it, and she didn't even talk to you, and she saw like one video from you or Dean or something about like on the good side of like, you know, just end range of the uninvolved shoulder, and then the involved side went up. So anyway,
did it work on your wife? Did your wife have an issue?
Patient felt better.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have to interject here with me because I'm so used to doing this so much. I like to have a little spiel and stuff, but I'd like you to interrupt me and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Because do you have any clue why it worked?
Well, what my wife and I were describing is to like, we're like, all right, well, what do you think's going on? And we're like, well, there's got to be some neurodynamics going on. Basically, if you can lengthen or elongate or put tension on the opposite limb or the opposite side, whether it's a upper extremity, lower extremity, or even the trunk twist, which is what we're going to get into as well. I guess if you put, if I had the TheraBands, like if you have like one long TheraBand here, and then you have a TheraBand here and a TheraBand here, and if you pull on one side of the TheraBand, it decreases the tension on the other side. Like if I had a Y here.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah. I like that. Good.
So that's a really good visual because we had another therapist do that to us before, but I didn't have the videos that made the whole connection and the whole experience. So it's got to be, I don't know, is that it?
So let me just kind of step back, okay? Because everybody is making pain relief complex, is what I said. But it took me a long time to get this to this simplicity. All right, didn't happen overnight. It won't. You'll notice you've got a lot of mindset or beliefs in you. Those beliefs can be through education, through knowledge, your own experience, and you've come to like cement certain things down that actually aren't true necessarily for everybody. All right. When I realized that, what happened with me is I did McKenzie right out of school, and would extend it. You know, I'm going to bastardize it just for a second. Let's just say do McKenzie press-ups.
Yep.
Right? But it didn't work that great for me, but I loved what it did with other patients. However, what was really cool is I then took strain counter strain, and they were shortening tissue. Okay, they were folding over tissue. So you got one that is, and so what we did is we had a course the week before. I took them back to back. We had a guy that had a radiating pain down to his knee in the McKenzie. They did a press up and they fixed him. Go do strain counter strain the next week, and there's another guy there with a almost similar presentation down to his knee, radiating pain, and they found his tender points and they flexed him. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It must be the reason why 60 years ago, 50 years ago, Williams flexion, people would put it in help people's back, and here we have McKenzie's extensions that are now doing it. So there must be a bigger picture here, a lot bigger of a picture. Now, I'm going to give you what I'd rather than going through the whole story, I'd like to give you what I've learned and how simple it really is. All right, and you're going to hit your head and go, oh my God, that's too easy, and it's too easy to experiment with. And what you said, the first part, is the most important. If you're not pre-testing, treating, then post-testing, you're not, this is what I find 98% of clinicians not doing. And you can get people to buy in so quickly if you do, if you're good at what you're doing, right? Because if you pre-test, treat, and post-test, and you keep getting not good successes, hopefully that'll make you change, all right? Because when you're doing cash-based practice, you have to have the success. Now, right. Think about this. Think about not being able to even to touch the person, and you're doing it online.
I already told this patient on Sunday or Monday, he's traveling to the West Coast, and he wants me to hook him up with another physical therapist. And I told him, I was like, this methodology, this thing that we're doing, I said we could actually do video calls or maybe even phone calls.
Yeah, usually it's easier if you can do a video chat, but if you can't, like Dean was saying on his thing, he was doing it on a call. All right, so let me step back and give you the simplicity of pain relief. No matter what kind of clinician you are, you're either moving their body for them or having them move their body for themselves. We call one manual therapy, call the other one corrective exercise. Right? This good, right? I like how you laughed about it because that does kind of break things down simple, doesn't it? Okay, now the next part is who's doing the thinking. If I'm a manual therapist, I'm doing the work on their body and moving their body, obviously I'm doing the thinking. The thing is, most corrective exercise also, you're saying do this, do this, do this, do this, is also doing the thinking for them. What we wanted to do, I was a teacher before I was a PT, is I wanted to give that skill set of mine over to the patients. Could I do it in a way, just like I used to teach math? Could I show them single-digit addition, then double-digit addition, then triple-digit addition? Could I make it so that it could be a system in which they could follow and take gradient little steps and begin to learn the body as well, actually better than 90% of clinicians out there, at least is make results. Forget about knowing the body. Can they make results that quickly? So watch this. This is really, really stupid. If you can't, there's only two things you can do with tissue. You can lengthen it or shorten it. And we're all tissue, okay? So you can compress and decompress. It's still lengthening or shortening. Make sense? Perfect. Now, a joint can either be in symmetry or it gets forced out of symmetry. Now, how can we bring that back? Now, we can push it back in anatomical, all right? But the one thing you have to know before that is we're a dynamic creature. So if I cut you with a knife, you naturally fold over it. You don't think about it. Oh, I need to fold my hand. I need to fold my hand. I need to fold my hand. When there's an injury, your body seems to protect it. We don't then go like this, wrap it up, and then say that we need to heal it like this. But if somebody comes in bent over, this day and age, we very much think that we have to do something to anatomically shift them into anatomical and leave them there, and that's what's going to heal them. That's great. Maybe it will on some. But the other factor is, have you ever gone into more flexion to see what happened? Because remember, now I felt comfortable enough because I saw it work with Mackenzie. I saw it work with strain, counter strain. I've now played around with it enough. But what I got to was real simple. You can shorten or lengthen tissue, compress or decompress. And a joint can either be out of anatomical and pushed back or go further where it wants to go. There's only two choices, right? So if you...
I love the simplicity. Go ahead.
Yeah, you write that. So you take that as a building block for everything you're going to do. You now sit with more knowledge than I did when I started this out. Okay? Now let's give it an example. If I can't lengthen, or if I can't come up here and it really is pulling back, my tissue here doesn't like lengthening. Correct? Right?
Correct.
So something, let's just say the tissue. The tissue's not lengthening. Now, if I'm going up like this and it's fine, it's fine. Okay? It doesn't mind lengthening. All right? It doesn't mind shortening. Let's just talk about tissue right now. So what if I do hit something? And let's just say this tissue doesn't like going this direction. Now, we, as clinicians, often will then do TheraBand up to just the point of sensation, or maybe a little bit before, or we'll do wall walks. And we're going into the direction that is tight. Now, if that works, great. Now, that's using that arm. So that's using upper extremity. How could I lengthen this tissue by the trunk? You go like this, right?
Head bend.
Is it? Now, just a little bit more. How can we lengthen this tissue by the legs? We kick over like this. Like, see, if I lengthen this, that lengthens this tissue, right? It's an IT band stretch. That's lengthening that tissue, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, actually, I probably should stay standing. But now, I look at this. That's one way to do it. Now, let's decide I'm going to shorten this tissue. I can go like this. And I can just do reps with it, see what happens, or I can hold it, see what happens. I can abduct, that shortens it. Now, this, somebody might say you just drop that arm. You can put it behind, but watch this. I lift up this arm, it lengthens this side, thereby shortens this side.
It actually, the way that your shirt moves as you do it, it actually helps to kind of it reinforces the movement, exactly what you're describing.
You got that? So all I'm doing is shortening tissue, and I'm pre-testing, post-testing, treating and post-testing. So everything you've done right now today into lengthening, or whatever technique you can do, you can then go into shortening if you want. Oops. So the other word besides shortening and lengthening is we either go into restriction or we go into ease. Got it? So you can change every one of your techniques right now. So let's just say I have forward arm flexion problem. Now, if this really kills me to go like this, right? Oh, that hurts, but I can't get past here. How will I hurt myself even more? How can I
pushing further into it?
Okay, boom.
Or your physical therapist cranking you into it, like I've done with frozen shoulders.
But didn't I just say that, hey, we as therapists, if we can't go this direction, we try to go that direction. But yeah, the catch-22 is if I want to make this worse, how to make it worse, I go further into it. So that's kind of weird, isn't it? Not to say it hasn't worked for you or something.
That's what we were taught, though.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to talk about routine versus scientifically doing pre-testing, treating, and post-testing to get you to a point where going, I can take any technique I want, anything. I don't care what technique you do. I can take anything and convert it. Because why? It's real simple. If this motion right here is my hardest, I can do it, do 2 to 3 sets, see what happens, post-test it, right? And then see if it worked. Now, people will say, oh, 2 to 3 weeks from now, maybe, or 2 days from now, or whenever, you'll get success. No, you should have it right now. And you know it being a cash-based therapist, right? So let's just say I stay on the injured side. And I go, now, what direction of motion is the easiest? Let's just say I find out it's like this. So I do this one. Well, let's just go, it's out here. This is the easiest. So I do it 2 sets, 3 sets of 20 reps or 15 reps. And now I go back and I go, wow, that's pretty cool. Got it? Now you're not doing a routine that you were taught. You're actually doing experimentation. Got it? Now you're being that little scientist. Now you have learned how to do it on your injured side, okay? But now we're going to come over and we're going to say, hey, this one didn't work. Now watch, it's a teeter-totter. It doesn't like to lift here. By lifting this up here, the teeter-totter goes down. I'm just shortening, okay? So from here, shortening, 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 shortening on this side. Look like I'm exercising this, or I'm exercising this side. It looks like I'm treating it, but I'm just shortening tissue over here. Now, if you want more explanation of why shortening tissue works, that's more of a strain counter-strain philosophy. I'm not necessarily going to go into that here, but I do somewhat in my course, right? So there it is. So think about everything that you're doing from a concept of let's go to what's easier, all right? Now, or let's go into shortening. Try it first because you're not used to it. And then see what happens. So think about this like this. So I've got this won't raise up. So let's say I'm tight right here. I can flex. I can kick my leg forward, right? If I hit the right angle, maybe I've got to rotate my foot in or out to hit just the right trajectory of whether this is tight and needs to be unraveled. Now the same thing can be done into extension too. Into lengthening. Got it? Now you're connecting all 3 parts of the body, right? So I just connected this here. Let's just say this is pulling, but it won't lift up. Well, what if it's something from across my body? What if I need to shorten up and over here like this? So now all of a sudden you've connected the right arm to the left arm like a teeter-totter. You've actually connected something like this, okay? You've actually connected your lower body to it, and actually the trunk is connected to it. So now what you have is you have 3 other extremities that can help you hurt one. So it's what, now you may go, ooh, I'm not quite getting that one, so let me explain that one a little bit. If
do you kind of simplify it by saying, like first of all, let me backtrack.
Yeah.
Do you suggest to kind of start with this, with your methodology, because you're not pushing into pain, resistance, or discomfort, or you called it, instead of resistance, did you call it? Restriction. So as opposed to doing that, like if somebody comes to you and says like, I have right shoulder pain, you could just go right to this methodology and test the opposite side. Right. You're going to test it anyway, but therapists usually it's like, let me check your other side, and then like, okay, and then they go over to the right side and just mob it and just crank on it.
Correct.
Instead, you could do just more reps or more movements on the other side, the opposite.
The concept is this: find motions in your body that work. Find motions in your body that don't work. Treat them. Treat the good side to fix the bad. To make it more systematic, though, you just simply test motions left versus right. Oh, this one doesn't work, but this one does. So there's a couple rules here. If there's a yummy and a yucky, definitely treat yummy, see what happens. If there's a yummy and a yummy, but there's something else bad in the body, you can use one of those yummies to fix something else in the body. Because all we're doing really when we're moving tissue, we're shortening somewhere. We're lengthening to places too, right? But what I want to get to here is how did we get in this mess in the first place? How come how come it's so, like you said, this is so cool, it's working. This shouldn't even be a thing. It honestly shouldn't. Lengthen and shorten tissue, why should that even be a big deal? Here's the reason. When you sucked at touching anybody, you go into school and you learn, hey, move the shoulder around until you find what's the most restricted. Got it? Because your hands can feel it. But remember, as you're thinking about what's most restricted, you actually are also contemplating what's the easiest. I don't know why they never did anything with that. They said to us, okay, now you found the most restricted, now let's treat into it. Why didn't they turn around and say, okay, you also really found what's easiest too, and the second and third most easiest. Let's compare those two. Now, they never did it because they never were taught to do it, and they were never taught to do it, and they were never taught to do it. Got it?
Got it.
So it became a routine in which we were all taught. So what happens is you become a mobilizer, you mobilize people, and all of a sudden this group of people don't get better, right? Someone did mobilize and it was great. They don't get better. So you go learn another technique. I will tell you 90% of the techniques out there are still showing you how to go into restriction. So you go in and you basically take another course that's into restriction, just a little more different tweaks. And then that helps get another group of people better. And then you start failing with some, and you take another one. And guess what? There's a high chance that majority of your experience has been into restriction. And a lot of it has been into the injured area. But for some reason we said, we can go to the neck, we can go to the chest and the rib cage and stuff. But nobody ever said, let's go to the left leg. Let's go to the opposite arm, right? But when you get this, shortening and lengthening, and you watch the way the body moves, you go, well, dang, you can do that all over. Now, what I'm about ready to share with the deer in the woods connects everything. If you have a deer in the woods, it's going to be yourself here in a second, and it sprains his back right hoof, all right? Now, what now does it do with that back right hoof?
Takes off the ground.
Okay, so decreases weight on it. What happens to the other three?
More load.
Okay, good. Now, what's causing the right back leg to heal?
What is causing it to heal?
Yeah, why is it heal?
It's
brain surgery stuff. I'm just
it's not being loaded. It's being unloaded.
Okay, good. Did you notice what you said? You took one thing and said it's working because of that one, and you didn't even enter in the variables. The other three are working. See, what's causing it to heal? The other three. Now, it doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't even become, it's not even part of our landscape, our picture. It's not even part of our formula. Okay? But can you put 3 times as much weight on the other 3 and maybe heal that quicker? I don't know. You can set up an experiment to do that way. What if I sprain my ankle just a certain way that if I put a whole bunch of weight on this arm, will it make that heal faster? Now, just observe nature. If you sprain your right leg, you put more weight over on the left, and you get yourself up like this. So what are you doing? You're using the other 3. Now, go ahead. Just interrupt.
No, I'm sorry. So there's a video that I have to post as a comment in this video here from Dean, which is your methodology. And it is literally a lady comes in with knee pain. Let's say it was I don't remember which knee, but let's say it was left knee pain. She comes in to see Dean Volk using TMR, total motion therapy, total motion release. Yep. TMR. That's what Dean is using for this patient. She's got left knee pain. He says, in this space here, go ahead and try to squat for me, because she had said one thing she can't do, and she has a lot of pain with, is just trying to squat when she's cleaning or moving, right? So she tries to squat, barely squats down. The pelvis, the hips.
He wasn't a happy camper either.
Wasn't happy. Dean sits the patient down, and on the right leg, the uninvolved leg, has the patient perform sit-to-stand reps, I think 10 or 20. I don't remember how many reps. After 10 minutes of talking with the patient and listening to them and kind of gathering some subjective, then he has the patient do sit-to-stand reps on the uninvolved side, which is pain-free. Has the patient stand back up. Okay, Mrs. Jones, go ahead and let's just try to squat again. And she squats deeper, and then she reaches some discomfort, like significantly lower than when she did it the first time. She starts tearing up. Dean says, Mrs. Jones, how long have you been here? Can you look at the
That
clock?
was the
How long
lady with the glasses,
the
right?
lady with the big glasses. And
Great.
she says she's like shaking. She's like, I think I've been here for 20 minutes. And Dean interjects and says, yeah. And like the first 10 minutes was we were just talking. So really for the last 5 or 10 minutes, we've been doing these movements. Your first visit, your first evaluation, and you have less pain on the left side that you came in for. I just wanted to give that simple example because when I saw that, like Dean has these as testimonials for other patients as to why they're going to call in and come see him or his office. I see these testimonials and it really just, for me, it like simplifies it as to even if it doesn't work, start there. Go ahead.
It totally demonstrates it. And if you get on the Total Motion Release website, there's 100 of those videos. So you can get on there and see us. Again, there's a couple.
What's the website? TotalMotionRelease.com?
TotalMotionRelease.com. So there's 4 of them, and then it says to get more of these, put your stuff in, and it'll take you to 15 of them, and then it'll also take you another 100 of them. And there's a couple that other people have done that are before and afters that are kind of cool. They didn't do the treatment part, but any one that I've done, and most of the Dean showed, and there's Bill Jones on. There's a couple other people on there. They're just showing, and they show pre-test, treatment, and post-test. Very, very cool. All right, really, really neat stuff. Got it? Cool. All right, so we'll do some here in a second, just to give you guys the very basics of what you can do. How you doing on time?
I got another like 15 minutes.
Okay, so maybe we'll just do one of them and stuff. Okay, so take that information that I just gave you and think about now the multitude of motions you could do on somebody. There's tons of them, and that's what I had to play around with. I used to test multiple motions on people. Me and my other therapists, we just do whatever. We used to have an hour at the time, and we do 50 minutes of just testing all these motions, and we find the top 2 or 3 or 4, and then we go for those when we just test right versus left. Now, what we ended up doing is we said, there's got to be power exercises. There's got to be some of these that make more sense than other ones. They're more powerful. And what we found is there are, because you've got things like, when you raise your arms up. So we basically found you got your upper extremities, you got your trunk, and you got lower extremities. And we took and made 2 of them in the upper, and 1 in the trunk, 2 or 3 in the lower. All right, so we ended up with 6 of them that we came up with. All right, because they deal with the biggest joints of the body: the shoulders, the spine, the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Boom. If you realign to those primarily, the other things then you can get and do some more detail work if you need to. Got it?
Yeah, and we can do some other follow-up videos. So if you want to just focus on one and go deeper in the next like 15 minutes, then we can do that.
Well, we're gonna give you guys a motion you can try on everybody, okay? And we'll give you the kind of the rules to it, and then I'll probably be able to throw you out really quickly to arm raise and trunk twist. But guys, a lot of people think that, oh, this is a technique. I showed you it's a methodology, okay? And guess what? It's a scientific method. You guys didn't think about going into lengthening or shortening, right? You didn't think about using the other sides. Now I'm just opening that can up to you that whatever you're currently doing right now, if you just do it into ease on the injured side, you'll double your results. Now if you take it over to the other side, now I'm giving you another into ease or restriction, and then the other side. So I'm actually giving you 7/8 more than what you currently know. So I can 7 times whatever it is you're doing. I don't care whether you're doing PRT, whether you're doing dry needling, whether you're doing your instrument-assisted stuff, whatever you're doing. Got it? Okay, now I'm going to step aside, and I'm going to show you some corrective exercises that we use, which are the 3: arm raise, trunk twist, and leg raise, right? And you can try it on everybody. Test something that's wrong with them. Anywhere in the body, their jaw doesn't open up well. Great. You got that? You get it a score, and then we're going to go and twist on them or something. Fair? Deal enough? So real quick here, seeing you there, you do it too. All right, so you pull your chair back. Real simple here. Find something they got wrong. I don't care whether it's a wrist extension. All right, but then you're going to put your hands on your chest, and you can twist around as far as you possibly can. And you're just looking for difference or same. It doesn't really matter. And then the other side. Okay? Yeah. Is there a difference?
I'm tighter to my right.
Okay, so he's tighter than the right. So there's 2 things that you want to have happen. One is he goes, yep, that's tighter. This is yuckier. This is yummy. All right?
What if someone says it feels equal? Does that ever happen?
Then, well, this is like Bill Jones. Every single patient that comes into them, this is all they get, the first thing. Doesn't matter the condition, doesn't matter anything. You no longer have to worry about the condition. You don't have to think, I've got a back pain patient over there, a shoulder person over there. No, we're all doing the same thing, basically. All right?
Like a general screen almost.
Yeah, so it almost like, oh, you got them in a factory. But guess what? These 6 motions do so much because you're not in a factory. Somebody might have a headache. Somebody else might have a headache. One guy's doing the twist to fix. The other guy's doing a leg raise to fix it because it was the most out of symmetry for him or most in. But Bill will say, what we'll do here is, let's say they're both in symmetry and the wrist is a problem. Great. Which one, if you had to do for 2 hours, is gooder? All right, this one's easier. Okay, good. We'll go and do this for 2 sets of 20. So right now we're just going to do a long set. Do a set of 20 or 30 to your good side.
My good side.
To your good side. And as you walk and talk there. So what he's done is he found tissue when he moves to his right that doesn't like to lengthen this way. So when he goes the other side, that tissue shortens. Right, there's stuff in his back that's doing that too. So he's going to go get to end range. His head doesn't have to go. Your head can go where it wants to, but you really try to get in the end range. And I typically say 2 sets of 20. Other people do 3 sets of 15. The number is arbitrary because some of your people are elderly and fragile, and maybe they only can do 6. But it's just about doing it until they go, wow, that's pretty cool. Now you're going to go back to the other side and see how it feels. You guys can see that he's going further. And then he's going.
And listen, like, I'm not acting. Like, I'm not getting any money from Tom to do this. I just rotated better. Like, you will have to try this with your actual ortho musculoskeletal patients. Try it on yourself. Like what I just did. Like, I'm not like acting here.
Yeah, you can see it. Now, let's say he then had a wrist problem, right? That makes no sense at all. But yes, it does. This tissue pulls down. The tissue pulls up. Wherever it is part of your body. Now you go back and you go, what the heck? And it looks odd, but it's not. As soon as you start learning how to play with the whole body and learning how to keep score, that's the hard part. Like, a lot of times we say, hey, we can't treat the knee for a shoulder injury. I go, the reason is because your form doesn't justify it. If I can't lift this above 90 degrees and I score it, it's a 90. You know, we use instead of 1 to 10, we use 1 to 100. But I say, oh my God, this hurts so bad. Let's say it's a 7. Okay, but then my knee, I find out that the difference between left and right is a 50. Well, I can say I'm doing my leg exercise. I do 2 sets, and I recheck the bad side knee, and it's better. And I recheck the shoulder, and it's better. You see, the form is the problem. The ability that we've written things down is the problem, okay? So all these little things come up, and you go, oh, my gosh, wait a second, Tom. Now you're basically telling me I can use my ankle to fix my shoulder. I go, yeah, you might be able to, and it's been done. Make sense? Might not make sense, but it doesn't make sense, kind of. It doesn't make sense because you don't have experience yet at it. It feels awkward because everything you've done hasn't been this way. You guys will do Supermans, right? And you'll find one that's not very good, and you'll keep doing it. Well, why don't you go over to the one that's really easy and do it, and then come back and see this one.
One thing that I've thought about is, like, me as a therapist, if I feel even if I'm working out myself, my conventional wisdom is if one side of like, let's say it's a prone T, like you were just kind of doing that motion. If one side feels weaker, the conventional wisdom of a PT would be load more of the right side and either do more load or more reps on the weaker side.
Correct. It's not, and who's to say that was right? If you do that and you put that weight down and you rest for a minute or 2, did you ever go back to see if it's stronger? I would tell you, majority of the time it's not.
It's usually like burnout.
Yeah, and it's burning-ish kind of thing, and other parts of your body kind of feel funky. That's not always the case. Some people do it, and they will get better, and there's reasons why they will too. But I will tell you, 87.5%-ish do better starting on the good. So how do you do that? Okay, so you take that bench press, because this is one of the very first things that happened to me. I took the bench press, do you do laterals? And I said, okay, let's do good. Makes no sense at all, right? Do the good, do the good, do the good, do the good. Come back and I go, are you kidding me? So this was 60 pounds. This was 40. Now I put the 50 or 60 in my pound and I can lift it. And you go, that will prove it to you right there. All right? But I can't make you walk the walk. I can't make you play around. If you're an experimenter, you're an experimenter. If you're a person that just likes routines and doesn't do it, you're not going to try it anyways. Okay? But everything you do now can be switched over. In fact, all your manual skills, the spot-specific ones, can be done with how you create your wrist and your hands, and your internal rotation will go into spots. So as you get better with moving, having them move their own body, actually you moving your own body, you will begin to have a skill set that you didn't have before.
Gotcha. So let's take the example of the patient, the active patient that I have right now. He just so happens to have a recent left total knee replacement and left-sided radicular symptoms, basically left lumbar spine, left lateral hip, posterolateral.
Here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you're gonna do.
I want to get the verbiage. What do you say to a patient when we are so you're kind of educating a PT as to how to guide them and describe like that they have control of the situation and why we're doing reps on the bad side? Because a patient is actually like a patient that spends hundreds of dollars per visit is going to be like, yo, you better be treating my bad side. Like that's what I'm paying you for. So what do you verbalize? How do you describe it?
I do the lengthening, shortening only. I go, you probably have had a lot of people, let's say, that have done that side, right? And what I'm going to do, it looks like I'm treating your injured side. It looks like I'm not treating your injured side. I'm exercising the other side that is shortening tissue on the bad side. And instead of lengthening tissue, which hurts you, I'm going to go into what feels good that you don't even notice it's helping. But when I lift up this side, this tissue is shortening, that side is shortening. That's what's happening.
And that's why the pre and post test is so crucial, because otherwise they need to like connect the dots as to what actually changed. So like have them walk whatever feels bad, sit to stand or walking or squatting, whatever feels worse, do that first, then try what we're describing.
Correct.
Do that intervention, that movement, whatever, the trunk twist, whatever, and then do the same exact post test.
And I recommend get multiple things they have issues with. Don't just do a walk. For example, your person needs a trunk twist, without a doubt. Trunk twist will be seen different in total knees. Okay, they're also going to probably have a shoulder problem. They'll eventually. How many times do you have people who have had knee replacements and the next thing that goes is their shoulders? Okay, or vice versa. There's nothing weird about it once you know about this stuff. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to test your arm like this. Okay, keep them right up against the head, and you're going to test his arms. Okay, got it. You test yours right now.
Okay.
I don't want you, and you've got to literally slide it up against your head, on your head. You can't lean it over necessarily. The reason is your body will naturally give space away from your head depending on how severe the problem is. Okay?
Well, I'm a right-hander, and when the weather is nice, I play baseball. So I could already just in general, my right shoulder is always tighter, and you can see I'm compensating. I'm doing my head.
So you feel it right now. We could go and do that area, but it's more fascinating to now go down to your lower body. Okay, now let's go down to your legs and kick up. Now you're allowed to lean back. Don't stay upright. It's not natural. Kick up as high as you can go. And I'm turning because I don't want you to the back of the chair. And I'm going to come up here. Kick as high as you can. And kick as high as you can go. And what's that? So what you want to do is make sure that when you start it, that you've got your heel on the ground. That relatively straightens your leg. Okay. And then kick up as high as you can. All right, and you can lean back a little bit. It's no big deal. And then take the other leg, stick it out, straighten it, and kick it up as high as you can. And what does I say? Do not lean against a chair, because then you're a chair, not a human.
Oh, so I can't do the back of the chair? I got one of these McKenzie rolls.
Nope. Slide to the front of the chair.
Got it.
So you're, even turn a little bit if you want, and kick as high as you can.
So my right side's tighter.
Okay, good. So now, do a bunch on your left side.
Am I doing the lift active assistant?
If you want to. It makes it easier if you want to. I like things active, but that's fine.
You like it's better active?
Again, I can never. If anybody says this is better than that, you shouldn't listen to them because they prove it to me.
How many we're doing, Tom?
Do whatever. But if you're doing it like that, do 30 of them. Oh, man. So I usually do 12 when it's active. But again, that's me. Some people I do 6, some people I do 20. Ultra marathoners, man, they can do this forever. Okay. So anyways, recheck the right. It may have changed, it may not. But actually, you know what? There you go. Recheck your right arm. That's a fascinating one. Because now it'll interconnect you with the idea of this. That's it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
My right shoulder feels better. I didn't even do anything with my right shoulder.
So the reason that you need something like TMR, like a seminar, is because that's just too foreign, right? You need a system to go through to eventually get your mind out of where you've been into this, which lets you now go, and do this if you need to do it, or this, before you actually have been missing half the picture. And you've been missing more than that because you've been using this quadrant if this is a problem. Into restrict, not into ease. You haven't been using this, and you haven't been using these. And that's why I can show you, if you go and fix somebody's shoulder, I can almost guarantee you may have made something worse sometimes when you go into restriction. But you're not paying attention to everything in your body. Got it? So we pay attention to, somebody comes in, we'll get 3 or 4 things they're having problems with. We'll record them. We'll put a score on them. We'll do something.
What do you mean a score?
We do, okay, a low, medium, or high. So if I said to you, hey, how hard is it going to your right? Low, medium, or high? And let's just say you say medium. I go 40, 50, or 60. Higher the number, the worse it is. Low, 10, 20, or 30. Higher the number, the worse it is. See, I always go to 2s and 3s. I love 2s and 3s, right? Don't give them lots to it. It's a high, 70, 80, 90, or 100. I know there's 4 there, but all right. So I say, hey, you twisted, it was harder to your right. Low, medium, or high amount of harder. Notice, see, I use really simple words. Boom, they do that. Great, awesome. Now I've got a score. All right, your wrist extension. All right, low, medium, or high amount of yuck. You know, we might be comparing to the other side. We might not be. Medium, good, 40, 50, or 60. 55, great. Now we got a score from. Okay, walking. See, I don't like walking. It's too general. I want to know exactly what it is. I would rather take them up a step and do something. I like something specific, right? Take them down a step. Take them back, reverse up a step. That's much more prevalent than a walk because there's too much that they may pay attention. And you can't really objectively, unless they speed up a lot, see it. Okay. Make sense?
Got it. Yeah. So you're recording these numbers. This is how you would do an evaluation over a video?
Yeah. So, okay. No, we have a form. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a simple, easy form that we have the exercise we're doing and the thing we want to have fixed. They each have a score of a low, medium, or high. Okay. And that's our start point, just like a 1 to 10, except we use 1 to 100. That's our start point. Now we can do 2 reps of 20 reps or 3 reps of 15 or whatever you decide to do. And we then recheck the bad side of the motion, the twist, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then we want to see what happened to the wrist. And so we're always tracking what's happening to the bad one we're exercising and the issue we're trying to fix. Boom. We now are done with that exercise, and now we come down and we still track everything. Here's the problem. You'll go and fix his shoulder, and they'll have knee pain too, and then you'll stop paying attention to this and go down to the knee and start treating the knee out, and you don't know it, but that knee exercise you're doing might be making your shoulder worse, but we ignore it and pay attention. So we always are tracking and continue to track through the entire session. So when you did that trunk twist and the leg arm raise and leg, I'm going to be still tracking that through the whole session. Why? Because don't think things don't change. And when you begin doing that, you'll realize the interconnected of the body is crazy. And the coolness of it is you can change everything with what feels good, typically. All right? Right. And like I said, but your brain's not used to doing it. You need to be a patient going through total motion release on yourself to get it wrapped around in your head, because you're going to get a lot of pushback. You're going to think, well, it can't work for surgery. It can't work for the guys. We're doing this on stroke patients, cerebral palsy. Go to tmrtots.com and watch cerebral palsy change.
Oh my gosh. My wife does peds, physical therapy, pediatrics. So, okay. If somebody's watching this right now to do this on themselves, you have them literally just check overhead for both sides, trunk twist to both sides, and the leg raise that I did for both sides.
The first 3 I do on everybody. There's 6. Is I make them test all day.
Wait, every patient you take all 3 things. It doesn't matter neck pain or ankle pain or.
We've got 6 of them, but those are the 3 I show in all the webinars. Those are the ones I just get if I'm doing a presentation out there. Here's the 3. What I've done? I've done an upper body one, a trunk, and a lower one. I've given you that. They're all open chain. They're not closed chain. So you could think about weight bearing on something and try to do another arm pushing it against a door or something like that, right? Mm. But those are the things. Anybody you get a 30% or more difference on, try this stuff on. It blows your mind. As you get used to it, you'll say anything that's in symmetry is also good. Use the gooder one and track out to see what happens too. And when you do that, literally you can go play right now on your own body forever. You can do it if you like to lift weights, right? Take everything and do unilaterally, and you'll be stupid fine. I mean, I had ACLs and stuff. Luckily, these people didn't get tons of swelling. That was diagnosed, ruptured, supposed to go for surgery. And the other one, they could lift 80 pounds on this one with a leg press. They could do barely 15, right? Luckily, this person didn't have a lot of swelling, and they didn't have pain. They just felt unstable. So we went over and did 80 pounds on here. This one went up to 60 pounds.
Wow.
So the idea that what happened before we had surgeries, right? How did those things get better and stuff? You know, you talk about the hamstring protects it in ACL, right? Well, if we're strengthening that, right? Or is it that you're gonna, when you do TMR, your whole definition of strengthening and weakness will totally obliterate. There's very rare things called weakness unless you're trying to hypertrophy somebody, you know, get them big muscles. But most of the stuff you're seeing is not a weakness. It's an asymmetry. Put it back in asymmetry and the strength comes back instantly.
I got to let that soak in for a second.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so
you do a sit to stand on the right and you can't do it. And then you go to the left and you can do it, right? Before I did explain any of this stuff before, you'd say that leg was weak. You take someone, so you would tell the therapist, or your patient, that's going to take us a couple weeks to change, right?
Everyone said, I say,
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, but then if we go over it, I don't care what you did. If you went up and adjusted the thoracic and did a minute, and that thing, now they were able to do it, had nothing to do with strength. Got it? So
Right.
if we come over to the other side and do it, and now it's better and they can get up from it, it had nothing to do with strength. It had to do with symmetry. Something without a symmetry, once we put it back in and now everything's working correctly.
When you say symmetry, it's just like the neurodynamics of the muscle that's, or the nerve that's conducting a certain message? Or like,
if I'm testing motion and I'm looking for motion imbalances, and I test the right, sit to stand, and they can't do it, and they test the left, and they can, that's a motion imbalance, right? That's an asymmetry. That's what I mean when I say asymmetry. So
Gotcha.
Guess what? That's all we're doing as rehab professionals. All we're ever doing is looking, I don't care whether you're doing like this or whether you're testing for muscles, you're always looking for asymmetries. What is it different than what it should be? And really what it should be is comparison to the other one, or comparison to what it should be as far as a good, healthy thing. We as rehab professionals, our job is, what's the difference between rehab and exercise? Right? And I say, this is my definition of rehab. You find asymmetries. If they have them, you fix them. And after they're fixed, do whatever the hell you want as far as exercise goes. So my exercise people, whether this is a personal trainer, or an athletic trainer, PT, OT, I don't really care who you are. You need to go find asymmetries in motion. Because remember, there's only two things we do as therapists. We move their body for them, or we get them to move their own body. You've got to go back to those original things. With that said now, if they're lifting weights, I say, you're going to do bench press? Cool. Check out 60 pounds. Oh, you only do 40 here. You're out of symmetry. When do you get to go back and do a bar? When you're in symmetry. So you go and you push on the good side. This goes back in symmetry. I don't recommend it that same day. Wait the next day. And if you come back in and you're mostly in symmetry, go and do your barbell. Mm. Everybody should be testing that because it's pain comes from the asymmetry. Okay? Because you now have a restriction.
Got it. So I have another call in about 2 minutes. I got to log off here. But listen, I wanted to bring Tom on here for all of you here in the Cash-Based Physical Therapy 101 forum, because if you use this, because I literally have done it even without going through Tom's course. Like I've seen of Tom, I've seen his free videos. I've never paid Tom $1 for his course, and Tom's not paying us to get on here. I've literally used this from like the videos that Dean showed me, and I looked at some of Dean Volk's videos, and I looked at some of Tom's videos, and I used it with a patient. I wanted to bring Tom on here because if you test and use some of these things, I guarantee you can get more cash-based revenue from patients. Ethically, you can do this over video, you can do this in person, and like I said, every time I see a patient for hundreds of dollars per visit, for a 60-minute visit, I have to sell them as to why they should pay me when they already pay for insurance, and why they should pay me and schedule with me to schedule follow-up visits this week, next week. And that is why I wanted to bring Tom on here. Tom, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome, and we definitely have to do it again.